Oh, oops. Wait a minute. We need to do our thing. Sorry, because I don't have my stuff regular right now. We're live.
I got the tuned up.
Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, hi!
Hey.
Hey!
Schnitzel Boys. Hey, boys.
Where we continue to defy the odds
Yeah,
and call it Fußball.
That's right. This is Schnitzel Boys podcast. I apologize of my poor sound quality. I'm doing this from my iPhone because I am mobile. I am in merry old England right now. I'm in London, England, Bjorn.
That is beautiful. The
Isn't it beautiful?
birthplace,
What's
right?
wrong?
The birthplace of the beautiful game.
Birthplace of the beautiful game.
Do we concede that? We concede that to the English.
That's right. They're not good at it, but they did invent it. So
Your mic now sounds a little scratchy. Is there?
It's just my broken iPhone. So
Okay.
I don't know. How scratchy is it? I don't know.
It was.
Hello? Please. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's better.
I have absolutely no control.
You have no control. All right, this is what it'll be then.
This is what it'll be, unfortunately. So I'm going to talk as little as possible. You have a nice microphone. I'll give our listeners a nice sort of audio experience.
The ASMR experience.
How's their background?
Listening.
I don't see a background. Is that just me? Is that just the iPhone?
Oh, your background? I see. No. I see a lamp. I see a couch, and I see a lamp.
Our frame background.
Oh, our frame background. Yes, that's also. Wait, is it happening or is it not? Oh, maybe. Oh, I think this is why. Yeah. Okay, we can fix that.
Go.
All right,
That's
we
the way
have
I
the
like to see us.
technology.
That's the way I like to see us.
I'm on
Hi,
the.
England. How you doing, Bjorn?
I'm good. I'm in Brooklyn. I have, but we saw each other. We hung out a little bit in Brooklyn on Saturday at the Kent Ale House, which is now the closest soccer bar to my house, and it's a very pleasant place. And we had
called the Soccer Republic at
the Soccer Republic at Kent Ale House,
whatever that means. So shout out to them. It was a lovely time. We watched a Man City game.
Yep.
We watched the Freiburg Hoffenheim game.
Hoffenheim, yes.
That's right. And it was a lot of fun. It was really lovely. Really lovely. Good seeing you. So I was in LA. I was a couple days in New York to see my buddy Bjorn. Now I'm on the other side of the pond. I'm in Europe. I'm in England now. And next week I'll be doing the podcast from Germany, from Deutschland. And then after that, I'll probably be, I don't know where I'll be.
On the moon. You'll be on the moon.
On the moon or something. But you're going to be in Germany too next Monday, right?
I'm going to Germany from not this week, but the next week. I'm going to go from Wednesday to Sunday, but I'll be back Sunday night. So I'll be back in my usual digs.
I thought we'd be in Germany at the same time, but I was wrong. Okay, then you'll still be in New York, no worries. But we'll both have spent some time in Germany since, right?
Right.
The end of the season.
True. Yes.
So
the season is winding down, and do you want to start? Do you want to start with the old Bundesliga?
Let's do Bundesliga. John.
I really wish I don't really have any. I don't have any Bochum gear to wear, but if I had any, I would have worn it today because I mean that was a big game. I mean, this is if I had to draw up how I would like the game to go, where it's finally decided mathematically that Bochum will not get relegated and will hold the division for another year. If I had to draw it up, how I would like that game to go, this would be it. Pretty close to what actually happened in the Ruhr Derby. Bochum was on the road in Dortmund and pulled out a 4-3 victory after, I mean, it was just a massive topsy-turvy, I guess they would say, where you are.
Right.
to describe this kind of game. Bochum started extremely strong and went up 2-0 and could have had a third one. Really came out very, very quick. And, we've talked at length on this podcast about Dortmund's defending or lack thereof. So there were more opportunities and it looked good. And then a Haaland hat trick turned it all around. 2 sort of unfortunate handball penalties and a third goal from Haaland. And then Dortmund had 3-2. And I kind of was texting my friends like, well, I never really liked soccer anyway. And it was fun while it lasted. And this is all, I had no faith that anything else was going to happen after that. But then lo and behold, Bochum scored twice again and won the game 4-3. And that meant that Bochum is going to be in the first Bundesliga again next season. And they had even T-shirts for this. This is what especially warmed my heart. They had T-shirts that said "Reinkommen zu bleiben,"
Nice.
and that were celebrating this. And I think that's just cool. This is really the identity of this club. This is their championship. Is surviving for another year and to do it on the road at Dortmund. Bochum has scored 4 or more 2 times exactly this season, and once was beating Dortmund and once was beating Bayern. So I mean, just a magical season, and we'll see what happens next year. But I mean, and it was just lovely to see. The players were kind of sitting on the pitch, the fans were going nuts, and it was great. Just a great game.
Congratulations, Bochum. A great season, and they'll do another one next year. We'll see. Maybe they'll go on a run like Union Berlin and maybe head to Europe next year. We'll see. Just like they did in the early aughts under Peter Neuer. Remember the Europa League campaign of 04-05 or 05-06 or something.
Which team? 04-05?
It would have been followed by Bochum.
Bochum in 04.
Did they get to the Europa League?
They went to the UEFA Cup one time, but that was in the 90s. That was like right after I left.
I might be mixing up. I think they were in the position. They were in 6th. Then maybe in the last game of the week they dropped to 7th or 8th. I thought maybe in my mind I thought they were.
I think this only happened one time, and this was in the 90s, and it was right after I moved to the US. I was like. I was a little upset. I was like, "Oh, I leave, and now they get good all of a sudden." But
imagine trying to watch a UEFA Cup game in 1994 in the United States.
Oh, that was not a thing. That was not.
Like, this isn't on TBS. This is not on the Superstation. No, but very well. I guess I misunderstood. But we're misremembered. But that means that Bochum can make the way back to Europe maybe next year. We'll see.
I think I think that's getting way ahead of things.
Other clubs have done it.
I think the goal next year will be exactly the same as this year, which is to survive.
Well, I hope they pulled off. And that Erling Haaland hat trick, was that a goodbye hat trick? Was that like, I'll give you guys another hat trick?
Yeah, we'll see. Bye. We'll see. I mean, he seems to be on his way out, and it seemed like the whole relegation battle was on the verge of being almost decided, but then there was some late drama, right? Where Arminia Bielefeld was playing Hertha BSC, so that was the big one.
I think that was a 1-1, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but Hertha was up for a lot of it, and that really would have put the nail into Armenia's coffin, pretty much.
Right.
But they got a late equalizer to keep their hopes alive, at least mathematically. I don't think they're going to make it off of anywhere outside of the relegation spots, but they still have a chance to make the playoffs. And Stuttgart, it was similar. Stuttgart was behind to Wolfsburg for most of their game and also got a late equalizer, and that also was an important point for them.
Good
So
for them.
it's still, and Hertha now has 33, so that's probably going to be enough. And Stuttgart is on the road at Bayern next week, so
However,
Bayern lost to Mainz. That's what you're going to say?
3-1.
Yeah.
And right after that game, I guess the big talking point in Germany is all the Bayern players took a trip to Ibiza. To Ibiza. You know that? And
I had not heard that. Tell us about that.
Well, right after they lost 3-1, all the players took a trip to Ibiza. And they're getting criticized for it. And Hasan Salihamidzic is like, the Sportdirektor, the Bayern Sportdirektor, has to defend himself. He's just like, listen, they need to go, need to rely on a long season, they need to regroup. Pretty much explaining why this trip to Ibiza isn't, because they've checked out. They're off. They've got 3 games left, I think, or 2 or 3 games left in the season.
2 left.
I think they're very checked. They already won. They eliminated from it. They have nothing left to play for. So they just got in a plane and they took a group trip to Ibiza after a 3-1 loss at my.
Well, what were they? I mean, presumably this was planned ahead of time. What were they? They were supposed to cancel it because they lost, or what was the? Why is this? Why are people being critical?
During the Bundesliga season's going. You know what I mean? I guess it just conveys a different message. But the reality is they can do whatever the hell they want. They won the league, or they won your league. They won.
Yeah.
Your league
What is the difference? But they're going to take now. If people are criticizing them, they're going to take it all out on poor Stuttgart next week.
I was going to say, or not. Maybe they'll be checked out. Maybe Stuttgart's about to get 3 points next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
But the reality is they want. They let them do whatever they want. So criticism be damned. If you want them not to take a trip to Ibiza, how about beat them during the league and make sure they don't win the league 3 weeks early with 10 points to spare? So they really let them do whatever they want. I just think it's a fun idea. The players in the middle of the season going to Ibiza, and the rest of the clubs are like, "Hey, we still have to play, you guys."
I'm enjoying hearing you say Ibiza. I think we should have more of that.
Ibiza. I mean,
Ibiza.
I'm assuming that's how you say it. It's Ibiza, but I'm pretty sure.
I think you're probably. I think the Spanish definitely, but like Barcelona, Ibiza.
Well, speaking of Borussia Dortmund, remember their forward Paco Alcácer? From a couple seasons ago.
Paco time. When he would come off the bench for Paco time.
Paco time, but he was from Spain, and the commentator, I think Derek Gray, in an interview mentioned, like he's saying Paco Alcácer, which is like American Spanish, or like Latin American Spanish, makes it easier. However, he's from Spain, so his name would be Paco Alcácer. That's how you say his name properly. But he never said Alcácer. He said Alcácer because that's more common for a Latin audience here in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot to ask of your average American to do that, to pronounce Alcácer. Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm fine. But that's just a little. So Ibiza, right? Took a pill in Ibiza.
Ibiza, Barcelona.
Sí. Yeah, anything with a C, it's the. Is it C? No, I don't think it's C. I think it's still C. I know, but it's like you say, C, fee.
No, C. That's an N. That's an S, though. That's a different letter, though. Yeah.
And then so moving on, we got Borussia Dortmund losing to Bochum.
Yeah.
And the other big team, RB Leipzig, how did they do?
They lost today. Mönchengladbach. Yeah, 3-1 against 10 Mönchengladbachers were enough to knock RB Leipzig out of a. I mean, really, the headline for the rest of the season: the Bayern is in Ibiza, Bochum is not getting relegated. The rest of the year is the headline is Freiburg versus Leipzig. That is what we have left, because not only is that the cup final coming up in Berlin, they're
Right.
also, it seems like they will also be fighting for the final Champions League spot, and it couldn't be two clubs with more different sort of philosophies and business models. I read a thing on Twitter today that was interesting, that Freiburg was refusing to participate in any kind of joint merchandise with Leipzig for the cup final. They often have, like scarves that are half one team, half the other team, or like
right.
these kinds of merchandise things. And Freiburg has said they will not participate in this, and they didn't give a reason, but you can only speculate that they have some issue with the Red Bull aspect of Leipzig, of the Leipzig team. And Freiburg is one of the few teams left that is literally 100% owned. It's just a club, basically
Right.
a nonprofit organization. They have
Yeah.
they haven't spun off most of the big teams. Even if they're not owned by a company, they at least have spun off their pro operations into their own like entity, and Freiburg has not done that. They're one of the few teams that are still 100% independent and part of the structure of the club structure, where the way all these teams started. And Leipzig is really the opposite. They just took some lower division team and completely revamped the identity and branded them as Rasenballsport, which is only really used to be short for Red Bull or have an acronym. And so, yeah, there's definitely some tension there. I think it's fair to say that the majority of the German soccer public is rooting for Freiburg in this whole setup.
That's them playing the part. Freiburg just built a whole brand new stadium. I mean, they're a local club. They ain't. I mean, they're a major top flight Bundesliga club. I mean, they're a business. Them refusing to join merchandising is just them just doing marketing and branding. Don't you think? I think it just feeds into their narrative. So that would be my maybe American perspective.
This is the Red Bull fan speaking.
This is the New York Red Bulls fan speaking. This is my perspective. Yeah, I'm definitely biased as an American and a Red Bull fan, but more power to them. But
well, I mean, I agree with you. I think this is always a little bit overstated. These and I think the aspect that kind of gets under mentioned is that Leipzig hasn't had a Bundesliga team. The East is in general sort of underrepresented in the Bundesliga. So there's also that, and it's not that. Yeah. Anyway, so there's a lot of things to say about this, but this I just thought it was interesting that Freiburg was like, we don't want anything. We don't want to share our money. Split any kind of cash with this organization.
You, Red Bull. Well, and more power to him. And I'm loving Christian Streich. I like what they're doing in Freiburg for the last few years. Just as a club, they've been doing really healthy work and playing good football. And I'd love for them to finally win a title. It'd be nice. I think it'd be a first title for either of them, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think either of them have won, or at least it would be the first title for RB Leipzig.
Yeah, I think that's
Freiburg
true.
probably maybe one step back in the day, but I can't think of any time recently they've won
it. I don't think so. I'm going to look that up, actually.
So either way, we're going to have a pretty new, fresh-baked Pokal winner, and it seems like they're doing the pre-gaming early, and I love it. They're going at each other. But Bayer Leverkusen won over the weekend, so they cemented their third place spot. And yeah, like you said, Leipzig and Freiburg fighting over Champions League. Very, very fun, exciting race to watch. RB Leipzig have lost their last two games. They lost against Union Berlin last week, and they lost over the weekend against Gladbach. I think 2-1 and 3-1 respectively. So, Tyler Adams is not playing. Maybe that's why. Maybe they should give him a little more minutes, perhaps. I don't know. Yeah, there's also an American Red Bull boy speaking. But RB Leipzig were comfortably in the Champions League spot, and now they're out. They're outside looking in right now. So
yeah, they're a point behind Freiburg. Freiburg had that dramatic 4-3 win on the road at Hoffenheim that we watched. That was crazy.
Great game, again, great fight from them.
they have a little more momentum. They do have the goal differential is not in their favor. Leipzig's is much better. So yeah, it'll come down to the wire. The Leipzig is at home to Augsburg and on the road in Bielefeld. So that is not a super imposing schedule versus
But Augsburg and Bielefeld both desperate in points, so they're not going to be.
I mean, Augsburg is safe now. Augsburg is done, but
are they mathematically safe?
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're practically safe. And Freiburg is on the road in Leverkusen and at home against RB Leipzig. So Freiburg. Oh no, that's the cup final. I'm sorry. They're at home against Union Berlin and on the road at Leverkusen. So slightly. Yeah.
Much more daunting.
Slightly more difficult.
Both those clubs are in good form. Yeah, much more daunting. Much more. So Freiburg has the bigger task. So that's
Augsburg is all but mathematically safe. They have a 6-point lead, so they're not mathematically safe, but they're practically safe.
And Ricardo Pepi is just 4 goals shy of my projected goal tally that I was going to have by the end of the year. I predicted 4 goals.
I took the under. I took the under.
Took the under, 3 goals. Well, come on, Pepe, get out there, score 1 goal by the end of the season. At least
I guess he could. I guess it could still happen, but probably not.
We'll see. I'm rooting for you, Pep. So very cool. So we got, we got race for Champions League, and we got the race between Stuttgart and I guess it'd be Bielefeld.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, they're the 2 that are left, and one of them is going to get that relegation.
That's right.
Yeah, that relegation playoff. And
is it going to be George Bello, or is it going to be neither of them? Maybe they're both. We'll see. Maybe both of them will get the drop. We'll see.
Well, what? Who?
Is it going to be Pellegrino Matarazzo, or is it going to be George Bello or Romania Bielefeld?
Right. Oh, right,
Which American is going to get the drop, or is it going to be both? Well, only time will tell.
Oh, if they lose, you mean if they lose the playoff? Yeah, I guess that is possible.
That's right. If Stuttgart loses the playoff and Bielefeld finishes 17th, then they're both going to spend some time in the Keller, the 2nd division, for our friends at VfB Stuttgart and Arminia Bielefeld.
And
to go to the Mainz Frankfurt game in a week or 2, and I think they're 9th and 10th spot specifically.
And that's
I can't think of a more Tote Hose game to go. But
except that's a derby, right? They are like local rivals, so that's
but literally they'd be 9th and 10th, and there's nothing to play for. so we'll see. We'll see. And I'm sure it'll still be fun. I'll try to take some pictures, and it'll be good for a Schnitzel boy to actually be in the Bundesliga before the season's out.
That's right.
And that's my goal. But yeah, very, very
cool.
The
closest I made it was outside of the Bochum's home opener. I was outside the stadium and at the bar down the block because I could not get in due to COVID.
Did you hear the roar of the crowd at least?
Yeah, I could hear it. Yeah, I could hear the people.
Why couldn't you get in? Is it sold out or what?
It was very limited. They still had a lot of COVID restrictions then, so it was only a few thousand people, and there was, because it was all personalized. You had to be a member, and you could not transfer tickets. There was no secondary market at all, so there was really there was nothing to be done. My brother couldn't believe it, so he insisted that we drive there and see if we can't find our way in, and
nice.
it couldn't be done. And then we just went to the bar down the street, and
it's like you're not allowed in.
They weren't lying.
I mean, not allowed in. The stadium was probably more than half empty. It was probably only a select people there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this was still
COVID times.
Yeah, COVID. I mean, yeah.
Well, I believe the tickets go on sale Thursday, so I have a timer. I'm going to try to buy a ticket. At least it's on sale for me. I think the members already have the tickets, but I think it's sale to general public on Thursday or so. Usually about a week before the game, it's on sale to the general public. So I'm going to try to snap up a ticket that way. Hopefully, wish me luck. Should hopefully
good luck. Yeah, I think you'll be able to. Yeah.
This weekend, I'm going to an English game. I'm going to Arsenal Leeds. I'm very excited about that. I will report on how Jesse Marsh is doing. Keeping an eye on Americans in Europe.
Jesse Marsh is in
Tough spot.
is in a tough spot.
They lost.
Leeds is really on the verge of being relegated. It seemed like Burnley was the team that was supposed to be the third, but they've been since they've fired their coach, they've been winning some games. So now it's very, very tight. There's Everton and Burnley,
Everton beat Chelsea over the weekend.
That was a pretty surprising result. And so
Leeds lost at Manchester City, accountable for 4-0, and they have Arsenal next weekend, and then they have, I think, Chelsea the weekend after that. They got 3 very difficult games.
Yeah, so this is a very very tough position that he's in. We'll see how that turns out. Everton is 2 points behind them with a game in hand right now, and Leeds also has an atrocious goal differential. So they are, if they're tied in points, they're going to lose out. So that's gonna be interesting.
Points.
And
my credit card, I need those points. All right, 2 miles per every goal. All right. That's the points I need. 2 miles per every goal.
2 miles per goal. And meanwhile, the other thing that's happening in Germany is the second Bundesliga is winding down, and that's very unpredictable. And Schalke really kind of, I mean, not out of nowhere, but sort of unexpectedly has, especially last week when they lost to Bremen 1-4, you thought, okay, that's kind of it for them. But then Bremen lost their game this week, and Schalke came back to win there, so they're still at the top of the second Bundesliga. I couldn't get this video of Simon Terodde, who used to be in Bochum, striker. He scored in stoppage time to seal the comeback victory, and he tried to give an interview afterwards, and his voice was just completely destroyed. Like he was like could barely even get anything out. So Schalke is excited. I mean, the fans are loving it. They have a real chance to go straight back up, and that's not what we thought would happen. I mean, I definitely thought they would need a couple of years to kind of regroup.
They were in a bad spot financially. I'm curious. We should maybe bring a Schalke expert in and give an update, because I remember they were $200 million in debt. They had to sell. They couldn't. The club in free fall. You know. I'm sure
that's still. I'm sure they haven't solved all those problems, right. And that's the question, right? Is this good? Is it good if they go right back up, or are they just going to repeat the same mistakes again? I mean, maybe this would have been a little extended period of time in the lower divisions would have given them a chance to straighten things out. I guess we'll see. This is not. Schalke is not a club that traditionally, does things deliberately, and so I guess this is just fitting. But I mean, not to say
they're club chaotic, so they're called, and traditionally they're one of the bigger clubs. And I, for one, as a purist, love to see them back in the Bundesliga. So good on them for having a pretty decent second division. Same with Werder Bremen.
Yeah. I mean, not exactly. Not to say that this is a done deal. I mean, they're the top 3 teams are 2 points apart with 2 games to go, and so everything's still possible. Schalke is playing St. Pauli next. They also are still.
That's a big game.
They're also still in the running. So there's some. This is a good time to check out the true Super League, which is the German second Bundesliga.
Well, I might be in Germany during the Schalke St. Pauli game. I'll try to go catch it, perhaps at a pub or something. Or I'll be in the Hamburg area. Maybe I can go to St. Pauli. We'll see. Maybe that's the game I should go to. We'll see.
This is in Gelsenkirchen Saturday night.
Likely not. I'll be somewhere else, but I'll be there in spirit.
It's a quick train ride. Quick train ride from Hamburg. Gelsenkirchen.
Yeah, I'll be like on the Nordsee though. I'll be like north of Hamburg.
Okay.
North of Lübeck. I'm way up there. I'm way tippy top. I'm a tippy top boy. taking that up. But very cool. Like the other thing is Hamburg. Ever since they've been relegated, they've just never gotten their act together. I think they're fourth spot right now. They could.
Yeah, they're also still right. They're still in the running. They have the same amount of points as St. Pauli have, their rival, with a better goal differential. So they are also still in it. They are. They're playing Hannover at home, Hanover. So that's should be perhaps an easier game. Yeah, there's a lot still possible. Yeah.
I mean, as a purist, you'd want to see Schalke, Bremen, and Hamburg to make their way back up again.
As a purist, what do you mean, a purist?
Well, those are the Traditions fine. That's traditional fine. And the other thing is there's no Bundesliga in North Germany right now. Like Hamburg and Bremen are both in second division. I mean, what Bundesliga is happening in the Northwest? Nothing.
I guess Wolfsburg. I guess it's not that far north.
I don't. You need Hamburg, you need Bremen. Yeah. But if St. Pauli makes it, that's a really cool thing. That's like Union Berlin. It's like a punk rock club, people's club, punching above their weight. We always love to see that story. So I root for them, and that would be a Bundesliga club in the north. Not only are they a little club that punches above their weight, they'd be the only northern club in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, but I think they're now. I mean, they haven't won in their last 5, so they're not. They're definitely not, because they were really going very strong for a lot of this season. So, but they've dropped off a little bit. So I guess that's true. I guess Berlin is as far north as Wolfsburg. Berlin are the northernest.
And they're not northern clubs. North
cities. Yeah, no, that's true.
I mean, needs Bundesliga.
Self-inflicted, though, Of
course. Hamburg is a big city club, but they can never get the same with Berlin. Hertha and Hamburg are 2 big city clubs. They, for whatever reason, just never get their act together. I don't know what's going on with those clubs. They need help. And like I said, I pitched Ralf Rangnick to go to at least one of them. But Ralf Rangnick went bye-bye. Ralf Rangnick has a new job.
He's going to Austria.
He's going to be the head coach of the Austrian national team.
That's pretty.
He'll still be consultant of Manchester United, I guess, at the same time.
Pretty random, huh?
I think so. I didn't even know he was up for a national team. No. I guess he was in the short list for the German national team spot. And since then, he's like, you know what? I want to be a national team coach. It's a great job to have if you want to live somewhere and just work somewhere part-time. As Klinsmann once Klinsmann once coached the national team from California.
Austrian national team coach is great if you're into skiing, I guess. You get the winners.
If you're into skiing, you're into not qualifying for major tournaments in skiing. That's number one.
No, but I mean, he has a lot of time to go skiing while he's running
Yeah. Well, is Austria playing in the World Cup? No, right? I think they missed out.
No, they don't. Oh my God.
Because is he going to coach them at the World Cup? No, I don't think they made the World Cup this time around. Right? Our brothers in Austria or Österreich.
No, I don't think they made it. Hold on.
No, I don't think they made it.
I should know this, but I don't.
Oh, I mean.
Let's look. No, they did not. They're not. They're not in it. No,
they're not making it. So the Swiss made it. Germans made it. The Austrians did not make it. Okay, so Ralf Rangnick's going to go there and change it up, and we'll see how the Austrians do. They've got one of the greatest defenders in the world in David Alaba.
David Alaba. Well, he's got
crushing it for Real Madrid.
He had a hard time.
Champions League title this year.
Had a hard time defending against Man City, but who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Well, that's Real Madrid has to go to Madrid, right? And they have to turn it on. And Real Madrid's going to be Real Madrid. I think Man City had a good game, but I'm still thinking Real Madrid's going to pull that one off. I think we got a Real Madrid-Liverpool final, which I think
I'm going to say no. City's going to win.
City's going to get through?
City's going to get through.
City, and it's going to be a City-Liverpool final? And Liverpool's going to win again?
I think so. Actually, if I had to put money on it,
I think Liverpool's going to win the Champions League this year. I think that's the case. I think they got a decent handling on Villarreal, and I think whether it be Real Madrid or Man City, especially Man City, they always get their number. So, Real Madrid versus Liverpool, I think will be a more interesting game for me. But
for sure, but that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
According to me.
According to you. Very cool, very cool. Do you have anything left in Europa here on the side of pod that I currently am in?
I don't think so. What are your impressions? Tell us about your impressions of the England.
Oh, you mean just actually being here physically?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I've been here once very briefly before. It's my first extended period of time here. I'm visiting family, and I was walking around London today, and I love the architecture. And I was telling a friend of mine earlier, London, because I was in New York over the weekend. I love New York. You know how much I love New York and Brooklyn stuff. London is obviously older, but there's a lot more variety, and there's also a lot of modern buildings. There's a lot of variety here. And the other thing is, I think in most of London, they can only build so high. So there aren't a lot of skyscrapers. And for whatever reason, there's just a nice feel to that. Like everything only goes up 10 or 20 flights. And when you're walking around the city, it's just like these beautiful old buildings that did a really good job restoring. London as a city is very clean. The train system is very on point. There's a train every minute. It's just a beautiful city to walk around in. And today is a bank holiday. So
right. It's Labor Day. It's Labor Day, right? Yeah, or in Germany too. Yeah.
Oh, is that true? May Day?
Yeah, it's May 1st. It was yesterday, but then I think today is when everybody's off. Yeah.
But literally, the city, it's not that full. And the city's just literally full of roving kids on scooters, hanging out by different statues and stuff, just hanging out. There's also street performers. And I was in London, Chinatown. It's just a beautiful city to walk around in.
That's great.
I'm always ever impressed by London. I really like London. And I'm going to do a couple of day trips out. I'm going to go to Stonehenge later in the week, and I'm going to go to Stratford-upon-Avon, Shakespeare's hometown, later in the week, to see some of the smaller hamlets here in lovely England.
Wow, you're doing it. Yeah, okay.
I'm doing it, baby. But I love London. I love England.
Yeah, I love London too. It was sort of the first big city I ever went to growing up in Mülheim, Germany. I used to do this when I was a teenager. They have these like language kind of summer programs. I would go to, and this is like, if you wanted to get your parents to pay for a summer trip to London, you would say, "Oh, I'm going to take English lessons." So that was sort of
pedagogy.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but no, it's a different company. But yeah, it was that kind of a thing.
Well, pedagogy, isn't it? That's just a term that means studying language, isn't it? Or like a program that helps you study language, I think.
Oh, wait, say it again.
Pedagogy, Pedagogy. It's like when I was a young actor, there were like German theater companies that did like English shows, pedagogy show, like in English, but simple English for people who learn English.
Oh, no, this was just a company. I forget what the name is, but they would line this up, and you would stay, I was 15, 16, and you would stay at a family somewhere in North London, and you'd have like Monday through Friday, you have 4 hours or 4 hours of some English instruction. And then the rest of the time you would just hang out. And it was a great time. I did that like 2 or 3 times as a teenager. And it was amazing. London was great.
My mom did that too. And I think my aunt did that too. It's a good way. It's also a good way, just Germans learning English, and then also if you live up in North Germany where my family is from, there's a boat that goes straight from Hamburg to Southampton. You can just take the boat.
Yeah, no, this was, the trip. It's so funny because these days, you can fly there for like $70 probably. But back then that was not as easy. And so it was you took the train. I would take the train to Ostende, Belgium. And then you would take this 4-hour ferry, which was just atrocious. Like you can just imagine like a bunch of, full of these teenagers and, would like vomit everywhere. And like, it was just disgusting. And so you would be on this ferry, and then you would take a bus. So it was quite the journey.
Wow.
Considering that these days you would just take a plane for an hour and a half.
So here we go. I don't know how Europe does this, but I'm flying to Hamburg really cheap. I don't know how much that is, around the same price. But I'm flying from Frankfurt to London then when I'm done with Germany. Guess how much my ticket was from Frankfurt to London? And that includes me picking a seat, paying for a seat.
$79.
No, the total price of the ticket was $18. 18. That's how cheap.
That's amazing.
That is. That's how cheap.
I think this is how that works at certain times, because when you're sort of going opposite where everybody else wants to go, it's almost free. Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
guess, but it's May. I'm going to London. I don't know. I'm just lucky. And then I'm flying to Hamburg. Same thing, $20, something like that. That's how cheap these tickets can be. I mean,
That's
the more
amazing.
expensive tickets are 40 to 60. And there you go. And like, I wish
these days
had cheap flying like that. Europe
these days you would not take a train, a ferry, and a bus to go to London. Yeah, from Germany. You could, I guess.
You can take the train to Paris through the Channel.
I mean, now there's also the Channel, right? That wasn't a thing back then.
Yeah, so literally we were thinking of doing a day in Paris, but that'd just be a little too much. Like we have to do a few days in Paris, and I just don't have the time for that. But no, it's like traveling around Europe is just. When I go to Germany, I'm probably just gonna get the train pass and just travel the country by train. It's very accessible and very reasonable priced, and it's just lovely.
Excellent.
I wish flying was that cheap in the United States.
Yeah, it's
especially as an MLS fan. How fun would it be that if, let's say, your team had to go to Chicago to play a game? The tickets were only $18.
Ticket would be $18. You would go, yeah.
I'd go.
It's you have to if you want to do that kind of thing, you have to get a job working for an airline. Then you can do that.
Well, hopefully that'd be free.
Because you
not
can,
$18.
Yeah, right.
Who knows? Yeah. What if I became that? What if that's what I did? I became an attendant. I became like a JetBlue flight attendant just so I can just to be an MLS fan, just so I could follow the team around. It's a good strategy. It's not a bad strategy. A friend of mine was a flight attendant once many years ago on like a short-lived airline that does not exist and only flew to Latin America, I think. And he made like $19,000 a year, something like nothing. And literally he would fly to like Peru, have no money for 3 days, be broke, just hang out in his room because he has no money to spend, then fly back and sneak food from the food tray.
Oh my God.
It's cool to fly if you're that.
Why did they not pay him?
He didn't make much money, and then he'd have to work. They just didn't have much money on him because he just was broke all the time. I don't know. I don't know. How is $19,000 a year supposed to help you out?
That is not a salary.
Yeah, I need to do better. Hopefully, I do it better now. But no, that's. I'm very, very thrilled to. I love how intra-Europe travels. It's easier to travel from New York to Paris than it is to go from South Brooklyn to North Brooklyn. Intra-Brooklyn travel is not as easy as intra-Europe travel.
Oh boy!
So good on him. And here in London, they're about to debut a brand new project. They have high-speed bullet trains opening, and they have the station opening, and they're going to be super high-speed bullet trains now
on the regular
subway
system
in and around England, overground trains.
Okay. Well, I mean, trains in Europe in general are much faster than in the US. Like within Germany, you cannot beat the train is always, especially over longer distances, the trains are always significantly faster than you could drive, even without a speed limit, etc. It's very nice, and the trains are nice. You can get food and infrastructure. It's good.
I have a very, very long train trip where I have to go Nordsee to the Rhine. That's going to be like an 8 to 10 hour
It's going to be very pleasant.
Could be. Yeah, I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to see the country. I'm going to really.
You can eat some sausages and drink beer in the.
I'll eat some sausage and beer.
Oh, you don't, right? You don't do the. What's your resolve in terms of your veganism?
We'll see.
While you're in Germany, we'll see.
I'll give you an update next week. Essentially, it's will Stefan eat a currywurst or will he not eat a currywurst?
Yeah,
those are the rules.
That's the question.
And I will tell you what the results are of that.
If you went to Schalke, you would have to. It would just not even be a question.
Perhaps.
But since you're not going there,
maybe we'll go to Nuremberg, the Nuremberger Bratwurst.
Those are good too, but no curry. Guys. No curry.
Well, no curry. Just the Wurst. Just the Wurst. We'll see. I might, because to respect my forefathers, I should probably eat a Wurst, right? I mean, they survived on it for centuries.
Listen, I'm not gonna take a position one way or another. I don't want to,
I ain't perfect. I'm allowed to cheat here and there. Anyway,
you don't have to be. You don't have to be perfect. Let's do it.
Or your neck of the woods, I should say. It's not my neck of the woods.
My current neck of the woods.
America ist wunderbar.
Oh, you also have me thinking, because you told me on Saturday that you're going to see these guys, Rammstein, and that really intrigued me. And I looked up. I actually found I guess they're still this stadium tour that they're on is still a pre-COVID conceit that had been postponed over and over again. And they played some of these shows. There's a video on YouTube of the full show they played in Berlin of this particular tour, and it is pretty impressive. They put on quite the spectacle, this band. So they're coming to MetLife also in October here in New Jersey. So I'm sort of considering it. I might follow your lead and also check out Rammstein live. Bring the kids.
My sister's going here in the UK. She's going to Wales. She's seeing Wales. And then she's in the Feuert zone, which is a special zone where you headbutt in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Seats in the back, but,
that is not for me. I used to do that. I was a punk rock kid, and back in the day, I've been in my fair share of mosh pits back in my time, but those days are definitely behind me.
Well, not me, because the other thing we've talked about is this is going to be my first ever big concert.
Yeah, that blew my mind. Yes.
I've been to very small, I've gone to bars and stuff where I was at the school concert. But as far as buying tickets to a name band and going in a show, I've never done that before. This is my first time.
You wouldn't know a mosh pit if you woke up in one.
Exactly. I mean, all I know is just from watching MTV in the 90s and seeing docs. I don't know real mosh pits. But I'm about to see one.
Big cultural
in November.
That's amazing. Yeah,
and
quick.
Just
a quick mosh pit. Culturally very different in Europe and the US. And in the US, mosh pits are much meaner on average, I found, than they are in the US. Anyway, and in Europe.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. The United States general is more aggressive. I mean, I'm just scared. I'd be more scared of an American mosh pit than a British mosh pit.
Although I've had some good experiences in New York too. So there's a Slayer show that I went to once that was pretty memorable. Anyway, enough of that. I am considering going to see Rammstein in October.
My friend. Yeah, I might just do that. No, I'm excited. Speaking of Slayer, the New York Red Bulls slayered the Chicago Fire 2-1. And the New York Red Bulls have broken an MLS record. They have the most road wins.
5 road wins to start the season.
8 LA Galaxy or something like that. It's like something from a million years ago. And they're having problems winning at home, I guess, but on the road, no problems whatsoever. So well done, Red Bulls. Well done.
That is Patrick Klimala came off the bench and
scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
Scored 2 goals. Patrick, he hadn't scored a goal in 7 games. Tom Barlow missed a total sitter, and I'm like, oh, Tom, come on now. And then Patrick Klimala was able to score 2 goals coming off the bench, I believe, right? And
at halftime,
they got 2-1 over Chicago Fire. And what I will tell you is New York Red Bulls, I don't think have ever won at Chicago, or it's been it's great. For whatever reason, they have problems with Chicago. I don't know why, but they have a problem with Chicago. But not over the weekend. They took care of it, 2-1. Go, you Red Bulls. Well done.
Amazing.
Keep it going. Keep winning. Keep getting those points. Patrick Klimala, keep scoring. Tom Barlow, you get there someday.
And Chicago looking quite toothless so far early in the season. They're looking to fix it. They're bringing back Chris Mueller out of Scotland. Yeah,
from Scotland. We'll see. I think that's a good move. You know who got the red card? I think there were 2 red cards in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But you know who got one of the red cards? The most real red card was Rafael Chichos, right?
Oh, that's right. The Cologne,
a month ago, I think, right? Yeah. He was really happy to go to Chicago Fire. I think he even has the captain's armband, but he had a sloppy game. He got 2 yellow cards and was sent off, and could very well have cost him the game. So
yeah, I mean they look good defensively. They have Gaga, the wonder goalie, young wonder goalie child. Gaga Slonina,
Gaga Slonina, who was just linked with a top club in England.
Yeah,
today.
Perhaps he may not be there long, but he's been good, and their defense has been good. But they have Shaqiri's playing the 10, and he's supposed to run the offense, and that is not currently happening. So
he scored the penalty, but that's all you're getting from Sheridan Shaqiri. So that was the New York Red Bulls.
Well, he
we
should
put
just
him
play a
on the
different
line.
position. I think he should probably maybe just move to the wing or play somewhere different. I don't think he's a number 10. But anyway, we'll
Right.
see how that will go. And yeah, my team also won.
Tell me about it.
San Jose.
Stories. What do you got?
San Jose, now that Matias Almeida is gone, San Jose showed up much tougher than I thought. I mean, we scored 11 goals the last 2 games, and so we needed 5 to break the all-time MLS record for most goals scored in 3 consecutive games. And when you're walking to the stadium and you're talking about, by how many goals are we going to beat these guys? It's probably not going to go quite like that, and it didn't.
Too confident.
It was a pretty tight affair. There was, not that San Jose had a lot of chances, but they really, their midfield was pretty dominant. They were pretty well set up, and NYCFC had a hard time playing through them. There was also a couple of, Thales Magno hit the post with a header, and we had some chances, and there were some layoffs that were kind of went poorly. There was, in general, the NYCFC's passing was not as crisp as we are used to seeing, especially recently. And so for 75 minutes, it was scoreless, and it was kind of a unexciting game to watch. And then Ronnie made some subs. Maxi Morales came back for the first time since his injury. And then, we scored 3. Keaton Parks got one. The new Brazilian winger, Gabriel Pereira, got one. And then Chris Gloucester, former Red Bull prospect who went to Europe and then came back to us. And I, frankly, had not been impressed with him. He had not looked to me like he was an MLS caliber left back. But even before he scored the goal, I thought, he came in for Malte Amundsen, who had an injury. And I thought this was his breakout game even before he scored. I thought this is really the first time he looks like he belongs on this team. And so then this was the icing on the cake. He kind of had a run on the left side and just snuck it past the goalie in the short post. And that was just great. And so even though it took a while, lots of good news in the end for NYCFC. Maxi Morales is back. Chris Gloucester is now ready, and we got the shutout, and it was in the end it could have been even worse. Tati missed a real sitter that he got the ball, got laid off to him, past the goalie, and he just shanked it over the crossbar. And because we were up 2, we could laugh about it, but that would have been pretty upsetting if we had not been winning at that point. So it was a weird kind of result, weird kind of game. On the one hand, it could have been much worse for San Jose, but on the other hand, it was also a lot closer than this result suggests, the 3-0 suggests. And Ronnie Dyla said afterwards that he thought this was the toughest team that we've played at Yankee Stadium so far this season. And they looked pretty good, but we prevailed. But we did not set the record for the consecutive. We could have tied it if Tati makes that sitter. We at least would have tied it. But yeah, and next we're playing Sporting KC at home, also winnable considering how they've been playing. So hopefully we can continue to make our way up the standings as we have been.
I also want to realize I forgot that there was a huge rain delay between the New York-Chicago game. They took like an hour off.
Oh, yeah.
Halftime was only 3 minutes long, technically. It was the shortest halftime in MLS history. But there's that dry thing. They went to go after the delay, and they went to play the second half. So it was also a little bit of a weather assist, as we had a little bit of a rain delay. So they had an hour to rethink on the field. And San Jose did have a good game or two after Matias Almeida left. They had the bounce-back effect. But I guess that bounce-back effect is effectively over. But good on San Jose for putting up a tough fight, at least. I Unfortunately, with my travel and stuff like that, actually was limited with the amount of MLS I could watch this week. Did you catch any other MLS games?
Yeah, I saw some of the Nashville Philly game. The Nashville Stadium looks amazing. I mean,
with their new minority owner, Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon was there. There was that headline, right?
Right. Well, there's I think you can
People
see a photo of her
magazine.
on Insta.
People magazine was reporting how Reese Witherspoon and her family were cheering on the Tennessee Titans soccer club.
Well, hey, at least they got People magazine there. Come on. When has MLS ever been in People magazine? Well done.
Guess even uninformed publicity is still publicity. Yes.
Like let's go Tennessee Titans soccer club. They didn't even call it a football club, which in
soccer.
Well,
I guess they had to make the distinction, right? That it's not the football; it was the soccer team.
Yeah.
So I saw some of that. The Nashville got the late equalizer. That stadium looks good. I always, see that with mixed feelings. I mean, it'd be nice if we got one, but anyway, let's not dwell on that. That looked very nice.
They're about to move in their own stadium. They haven't done that yet. They're about to move in their own stadium, aren't they?
What are you talking about?
Nashville?
No, that's what this was. This was the opener of that very stadium.
Brand new fun stadium.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And it looked.
Shows you how the loop I've been this past.
It looked great. Tommy Shaw. Speaking of going to concerts, the first concert that I ever went to was at H9 in 1979. I went to see Styx play in Düsseldorf. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because Tommy Shaw, the lead guitarist of Styx, played the guitar solo. I guess in Nashville they have somebody play a guitar solo before every game. And in this time, opening up the new park, it was no other than Tommy Shaw.
Wow.
Of Styx fame. Yes, so that made me think of that.
Isn't that Styx? Renegade?
I don't know. What?
Renegade by Styx, or am I mixing it up?
I don't know. This does not sound familiar
I'm
yet.
a man who doesn't go to concerts. If I have it more, they'll probably give us a YouTube copyright claim.
Oh yeah, no, don't do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, what would you say Styx's most famous song?
Well, back then, I mean, their most infamous album was the Mr. Roboto, Kilroy Strikes Again. That was like the concept album that kind of sunk them.
That the Doma Arigato Mr. Roboto song?
Yeah, that's their song.
Okay.
Yeah. And they had, and this was from a record that was a concept album that came with like a stage show that was sort of musical-esque, and that did not go well. But their big hits, I guess Babe is one of their big hits. In Germany, there was the song Boat on the River was a big hit that I don't think was a big hit here, but it was in Germany. I don't know. I could I could name some others perhaps, but yeah.
So Mr. Roboto, I think that's a big one.
That's a big one, yes. And anyway, so that stadium looked good. Nashville got the late equalizer. Philly dropped some points. What else did I see? I saw a little bit of the New England-Miami game. Matt Turner is back, and not a moment too soon.
Nice.
That defense is looking much more solid with him back there. Toronto lost again at home to Cincinnati, and Austin FC got another road win at the Houston Dynamo. Former NYCFC backup Brad Stuver got poorly chipped early on from he was way out off his line, and I now forgot who it was. Wait, I got it. Ferreira chipped him, and not only was that embarrassing, he also kind of wrapped himself around the back post in such a way that he had to come off and be replaced. So not only, it was basically adding injury to insult, I suppose. So, but then Austin bounced back and got two goals from Pereira and Driussi. The Driussi is just an early MVP candidate. He just looks amazing for them. Everything is still kind of with an asterisk when it comes to them because their schedule has been pretty soft, and Houston is not.
Well, that's
also not a great team, but yeah, no, I mean, good for them. They would be leading the Supporters Shield chase if not for LAFC, who the last game of the weekend they won and are now on top of the Supporters Shield standings, ahead of Austin. Yeah, Steve Cherundolo.
Kind of quantity beginning of the season, and they started off pretty strong. So go for Steve Cherundolo and go LAFC.
And so that's kind of what I've been, what I kind of saw. Orlando beat Charlotte, Columbus beat DC, Montreal beat Atlanta 2-1. Atlanta really troubled.
A lot of surprising results going on in Atlanta. I mean, they've never been the same since Tata left. So I'm going to say a big sweeping statement like that. But, you expect a little better from a juggernaut club like them. So I wish Gonzalo Pineda the best. He seemed to be starting off pretty strongly. And they just got to figure out what's going on down there. But there is a really big game involving that MLS club on Wednesday.
Yes, there is.
That I'm going to have to figure out how to watch somehow. I'll probably use my VPN or something. I wonder if there would be. Well, it'd probably be like 3 a.m. here, but I wonder if they would.
I was going to say that is at a very poor time for you. That would be 4. Yeah. You're going to be in Germany then, so that's 4 a.m.
Well, it's just one. I think I'll be in England here, so
3 a.m.
I might try maybe just record it on a DVR and watch the next day at a more reasonable time. We'll see.
Well, but all of England will be a buzz with the result. It's going to be impossible for you to not find out ahead of.
I have to put my fingers in my ears and be like, "Don't ruin it." I know you guys all watched the Pumas-Seattle game last night. Don't ruin it in front of a record crowd at Quest Field. Hopefully, Marshawn Lynch trying to get people to come down to the stadium. Good on
you. I heard today they only had 1,000 tickets left. So yeah, that's going to be a big. It's going to be a big thing. We talked about it. You were saying how you're definitely rooting for Seattle. I don't know.
100%.
I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if they lost. I don't know. I'd be okay.
CFC. No, I'm about the bigger picture. I'm about an American club winning it. They're at home, good crowd. They should be able to pull this one off. There's going to be, I predict a lot of shithousery. I predict a lot of come on, can't they hold the ball better? I predict them to forget how to play football for a little bit. But overall, I predict a good win from the Seattle Sounders. At least that's what my heart says. That's what my heart says. My head says Mexico never loses, but my heart says the Seattle Sounders are going to get this one going. The fact that they got a draw in Mexico is good for them. I just hope they're not too overconfident.
But the fun,
kind of a lucky draw.
Yeah. That was a crazy game. Yeah.
And they also didn't play amazing down there. Like the front line with Rusnak had kind of a rough game.
They did not. It's true. It's true. And they did not. I mean, they were a little unlucky with the goals that they conceded, but then they did get very lucky at the end to be able to tie it. But that's the stat, right? That's the weird stat in these CCL finals. The MLS team has never lost in Mexico. The MLS team, it's a weird. I didn't realize this either. It's always
they've never won either, though. I think they've all been.
Well, it's at home. It's at home where they always lose. So
wow.
That's so yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Go Seattle. I'm rooting for it. Half the Schnitzel boys are rooting for you at least. Go Seattle. Go MLS.
I'm not. I mean, I don't feel strongly one way or another. It's not like I'm going to be rooting for Pumas, but we'll see.
But if Pumas wins, you'd be fine with that.
I'd be completely fine with it. Yeah.
Well. Good chance it's happening.
I guess I don't get the. I mean, I guess I'm ultimately not American, so I don't really sort of root for the league as a whole necessarily. I'm still pretty
American program in general.
I'm still pretty upset about the way we went out against Seattle and them just sort of shithousing their way through. Sure. Yeah. No, I'm not saying
they won fair and square 2 fair and square games. NYCFC should have done better.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't have to like him.
NYCFC should have kept James Sands.
Doesn't mean I have to like him.
True. That is true. That's 100% true.
Yeah.
If they knocked out my Red Bulls and it was an annoying game, I wouldn't. It would be hard for me to go and root for them on the next game. You know. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, my friend. But I don't have a horse in this race, and I just have respect for Seattle in general as a club, as an organization, and a respect for their fans. A lot of them, it's the biggest game in club history, so a lot of them are very much putting their time aside to make their way out there and be a part of it, and I respect that. So I respect you, Seattle, and I hope you do it. I hope you do it this Wednesday. I'm rooting for you.
All right, I'll be watching for sure. And we have Cincinnati against Toronto as a warm-up. Before that, they get to play again. They were playing in Toronto on Sunday. This is just MLS scheduling at its finest. Now they get to play again in Cincinnati.
You know what I miss? Back in the old days, rooting. I used to root for this league back when there were 10 teams, and the New York Red Bulls, or then was even the New York Metro Stars, played DC United 3 games in a row once.
It's like. I'm happy that we don't have there was a time, when I guess last year or maybe the year before, when between multiple games against when we played the Red Bulls, the Red Bulls and NYCFC were playing each other all the time. It was like the Open Cup, and then there was, and it's just like, it's too much. You don't need.
The Cosmos were involved too in the Open Cup.
It's too much.
Now it's almost the opposite, where they have so many clubs. There's like too many games on the weekend sometimes. It's hard to follow.
It's a lot of teams.
I mean, how many games are there on a weekend? 14 at least? Maybe?
14, yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of games. I mean, no other league has 14 games. So, okay, MLS. You have 14 games.
There's no end in sight. There's the St. Louis team is coming. Perhaps Vegas. a Vegas team is next. Yeah, we'll see.
Which I'd be a fan of, because I can make a Vegas trip, watch an MLS game. I'd be a fan of that.
I wouldn't mind.
Keep me off gambling for a bit. Very cool. Well, good on you. Go for Seattle. Good job for Austin picking themselves up after their first season. Granted, still early, as you know. MLS things don't really fall into place until the last half or last third of the season. But
except the points count just as much now than they count in September.
Just like how New England had.
I think there is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people say that, and I think there's some truth to it. Obviously, it gets more intense later on. But I think my counter take to that is, like, you often also, there's always these teams that are in the back of the table early on. You're like, oh yeah, they'll figure it out, and often they don't. Oftentimes you think, oh, they're gonna straighten themselves out, and they don't always. Like for these teams like
Houston and San
New
Jose.
England, New England, San Jose, Vancouver, even Seattle. I mean, Seattle has 7 points out of 7 games. I mean, once the CCL thing is over.
Right now. I think they have a lot of potential still distracted right now because they're playing a lot of their bench warmers.
We'll see. But remember the Toronto season. Toronto made it to the the CCL final, almost won, should have probably won that, and never made the playoffs that year. Never really. Right. And you think,
they're having kind of a rough year this year too.
You think, oh, they'll come around. But we're already a third in. We're almost a third of the way into the season, between 25% and a third. So it's not like we've just started. So we'll see.
How many match days are we at now? 11?
I think 9 or 10. Yeah,
9 or 10. Yeah. That's about. Yeah, that is a good.
It's a lot. Yeah, I mean, NYCFC, we have 8, so we have some games in hand, but. And we're in 5th now, so we're making our way up there. But
where are the New York Red Bulls right now?
Second.
Okay, cool.
Second, but have 4 points ahead, but we have 1 game in hand. But yeah, it looks like that's going to be a tough rivalry this year. It looks like the Red Bulls are for real, and we're definitely good.
Red Bulls are always for real. All right, 12 seasons, making the playoff every season and counting. We've been making the playoffs before we even had a logo.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, you guys have been good, and we've won a bunch of MLS Cups, right? Like,
What do you mean? You've
like
won a bunch of MLS?
you must have. I mean, you've been around for so long. You must have
We have
won
we have three supporters.
supporter shield. That's not an official.
It's official to me. It's official to my heart. We have three supporter shields. When Thierry Henry gives the supporter shield to Mike Pecky and says he's been waiting for this, and Mike Pecky shows the supporter shield to his fans, that's a real moment. Okay?
But no, seriously,
we have an MLS Cup final appearance, 2008, and most importantly, we have a.
Do you get a trophy? You get a
2005.
trophy for that? You get a trophy?
Yeah, I get a silver medal trophy, silver medal essentially.
Because we won just this last year. I don't know if you heard.
Right.
That.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, that was pretty fluky, but yeah, you won. It was pretty cool. How do you feel about winning back-to-back titles?
I'm excited. I would. I mean, that's why we're this year we're sponsored by Dude Wipes, because much like them, we're all about number 2.
Hey-o.
Hey.
Excellent. We're over at New Jersey. We like to ride the bull. You know, Red Bull gives you wings. You know, so we're gonna get wings straight into our first MLS Cup title, which will be coming under Gerhard Struber.
We'll see.
I'm surprised he wasn't up for the Austrian national team gig. Maybe he was. Who knows?
He's just.
Who knows?
How long is Ralf Rangnick gonna last? We'll see.
Maybe 20 years. Maybe forever. And people won't even remember it before time.
Who was the previous coach? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. I could if you had to ask me to name any Austrian coach, I could maybe name. Honestly, I probably could name 0. Maybe 1, 2. You know, I know our former assistant. I know Andreas Herzog, I think, was a coach. Maybe not head coach.
Oh yeah, right.
I remember the blonde-haired coach from 2008 when him and Joachim Löw both hated the referee about something, and they shook hands because they agreed on something.
Who was that was the Salzburg, the RB Salzburg coach?
Was it?
He looks no, like just recently when I saw them, he looked like he was straight out of the Hitler Youth. Like he.
Oh right,
It was he had a sort of a disturbing haircut and kind of a dark. Wearing a long dark coat. I was like, "Is this? I don't know. Is this just sort of?"
Go there.
I was uncomfortable. I was feeling uncomfortable with his getup.
It did look uncomfortable. Yeah, read the room, buddy. Read the room. Read the room of the world, man. Cool. Do you have any thoughts or anything? Anything else?
I think that's it.
The Schnitzel boys.
You need to go to sleep.
I do. It's 3 a.m. here. I need to go to sleep.
3 a.m.
I have to get up early because I have to go to Buckingham Palace tomorrow.
Yeah, we talked about this on Saturday. You enjoy being unlike me. You enjoy being a tourist. You like to do the stuff.
I'm a big tourist boy. I went to Big Ben today. I went to London Eye. I'm going to Big Ben again tomorrow. I went around Soho. I did a whole bunch of tourist stuff today, and I got a whole bunch of tourist stuff tomorrow.
That's
Wednesday,
great.
And even Friday. I'm also seeing friends and stuff. Maybe a couple chill days. But yeah, I've got my schedule loaded. I have Wanderlust. I need to go.
You're doing it. That's good. That's great.
I spent 11 hours in a plane. I want to take a look at Big Ben.
You want to make it worth it.
Here.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. From LA. This is a whole different thing. Well, I guess you stopped in New York. That was good.
Nice stopover. Good ride. The flight there was fine. The flight here was actually lovely as well. And then hoping my flight to Germany is pretty chill. However, I have a long flight on the way back. Frankfurt, London, New York, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's a long flight.
So let's get you to bed.
Let's get me to bed, my friend. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the Schnitzel Boys and listening to us and subscribing.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Tell your friends, tell your family about us. But we've been Schnitzel Boys. Cheers. Nächste Woche.
Tschüss. Mach's gut.